Some moms are like, don't touch me. Like, I don't want anyone to touch me. That was me through all my births. Like, touch just was worse. It made everything worse. Every time anyone touched me, it was just worse. But in general, it's usually really supportive if someone can tolerate it, to have some of that relief in their back too when you're compressing around the sacrum. If you do that little lift, that can also help lift the pelvis a little bit too, which can sometimes support if there's a positioning issue that's causing a lot of back discomfort or anything like that. I also wanted to say that you do not need to have a high pain tolerance to have an unmedicated birth. I think a lot of people believe that. And I've had a lot of people come to me and say, like, I have a really low pain tolerance, so I don't know if I can do it. Labor has nothing to do with pain tolerance, and it has 100% to do with your emotional preparation and the mental space that you're in when you embrace birth. So if you have confidence in yourself that you can do it, if you trust in nature's design, if you trust your body, and you make the choice in every moment with every contraction, using the support that you have to surrender to the contraction and to ride it through, that is how to get through an unmedicated birth. It's not about like being able to handle a lot of pain, because a lot of the time sensations are not, directly painful. Sensations could be like a lot of pressure, temperature changes, a lot of tightening in your belly, a lot of energy, like moving through your body that can feel intense, but it's not always painful. And if it is painful, that's when we want to be using some of those tools that I talked about before, right? The dropping our jaw, using low sounds, using water, getting in the shower, using your support person, changing positions. But most importantly, the number one thing to do is to keep your mind fully committed in every moment to being able to surrender. So if you start to be like, I don't know if I can do this anymore, that's when we start to resist the contractions. And then we start to tighten our muscles in the presence of the contractions, and then we're fighting against the contractions. And then that can make the contractions more painful. And then we fall into that fear, pain, resistance cycle. So if you can think about, I like to describe labor as something that is kind of similar to sex and orgasms. The best way to get your baby out naturally is to do what comes naturally for you. So that means if you can be totally authentic and feel safe to be yourself like you are with your sexual partner, and if you can also create an environment that is most as closely aligning to the kind of environment you would have to make a baby, that kind of environment is going to be more supportive for all the hormones that are needed to be able to, contract and have your baby, similarly to be able to open up and to orgasm. If you're about to orgasm and you have this orgasm building and you're getting close to that peak, and then someone knocks at your door, your body's going to release a flood of stress hormones and it's going to totally stop. If you have that flood of adrenaline, that's going to block your orgasm, and it's not like you can just pick back off where you left off. You have to start at the beginning. And labor is very similar. When you're in your primal brain and you're not thinking, you're able to fully just surrender to the sensations that are happening in your body. And you're not like, what do I make for dinner? Your thinking brain is off and your primal brain is on. So you're in more of a meditative and present state. If you can support yourself in being in that kind of frame and that kind of environment, that can support all the hormones that are needed to support the progression of labor. Does that kind of make sense? And also to help you cope with labor. So if you can embrace labor thinking about I am going to experience whatever it is that I'm going to experience, and I'm okay with that. I know that I'm safe, I know that my baby is safe, and I've done everything I could up to this point to surround myself with people who align with my intention, who believe in me, and who believe that I can do it. And if at any point I can't find the strength inside of myself to get through a contraction, if it feels like too much, I'm going to call on the people around me and use the tools that I've deliberately created to support me in having the kind of experience that I want to have. You all can do it. You all have that power within you. And if at any point you reach that place where you just feel like, I don't know if I can do it anymore, probably you're getting close to having your baby, or it means that it's time to shift and do something different. Go into the bathroom, go get in the shower, go in a different room, just change up what's happening, and maybe do something to support yourself mentally and emotionally, like a birth affirmation track or eye-to-eye contact with your partner, something like that to help you have that mental and emotional support.